We're still a little bit away from Auburn football actually hitting the field, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about some really interesting topics. One of those is a storyline that's more prevalent throughout college football than has seemingly been for the last couple of seasons. More head coaches giving up the play calling, especially offensively, to their coordinators. Hugh Freeze is one of those, and there are several others out there. We're going to talk about that topic, what it means for Auburn football and college football in general, here on this edition of Good Morning Auburn. Good morning, Auburn family. Good morning, E2C Network family. Thank you so much for joining us on this edited and, well, I guess I should say recorded live stream. It's not technically live if you're watching this right now, but we can just kind of virtually wave and say hello to everybody. You guys in the chat can have fun, but this is getting you through while I'm on vacation. We're just going to have some topics all week at our normal Good Morning Auburn segment time at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time for you to consume and take advantage of while I'm on vacation. And I've obviously invited a familiar face to the network here, Mr. Thomas Manville, to join me today. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Hey, how is everybody today?
I'm doing well, and I'm sure everybody else is getting the sleep out of their eyes if they're watching live, and I'm sure everybody else who woke up later or is finding time later is interested to see what you think about this topic. The topic at hand today that I wanted us to dive a little bit further into is the topic of head coaches giving up their play calling. And it's not just Hugh Freeze. Well, that's where we're going to keep our focus on today mainly, but I want to give some other examples too. But there is a trend, at least more prevalent this season, of head coaches offensively, especially giving up play calling to people. And I think there's probably some reasons for that I have in my head, but obviously my head's pretty crazy. I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but after all that makes me a little bit crazy. So I want to see what you think about this topic as well. Let me just start off with that. First of all, were you shocked when Hugh Freeze said he was going to give up play calling when he came to Auburn?
A little bit at first when he first said it in that first press conference, but the more that I think about it and the more that goes into being a head coach at a major university, I'm not surprised that Hugh Freeze or some of the other coaches that have been talked about are stepping back from that role. They have better resources now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I guess the other question I would have for you on top of that is, do you find it coincidence or do you find a correlation between Hugh Freeze, I'll throw some other names out and let some prominent names we're going to mention, all deciding this season that at least they say, we will see what happens when we get out there on the field, right? We're in the middle of January. Right? Well, this would be almost February. It depends on when they're watching this. We'll see what happens out there. But do you think it's a coincidence that we're seeing this many big names, especially offensively, giving up the play calling all at the same time?
No, I think it's a complete correlation between the offensive coaching job and being a head coach. I mean, like you said, there's Malzahn has said he's going to do it. Jimbo Fisher is pretty much being forced to do it at Texas A&M. And he's saying that he's going to do it as well. I think it's a smart move for most of these guys, because if you're a head coach in collegiate football, you're the general. You're over everything. And the way that technology has infiltrated the game of football in good ways and bad ways, and the amount of analysts that people have on staff, I think that's the big turning point for me in my mind is, if I'm a head coach, why would I worry about calling the plays if I can get, my headset tells me down in distance what percentage we have of this play versus this play. I say, I'd like to run for this first down. It's 3rd and 2. And they go, well, on this side of the field with this defensive package, we have a better chance if we do this. And you go, okay, go.
Yeah, no, I think it makes a lot of sense with the ever-changing landscape. I mean, we lament about it all the time. NIL, the way roles are changing on a team. There is a constant flux of change that's happening with college football right now. And this is one of those trends that I felt like they all came within like a certain few days too. And of course, it was during the whole coaching carousel where everybody's getting head coaching jobs. People are going to different coordinator jobs, promotions, all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense that it would happen somewhat close together. But I just felt like when I have a list of ideas for those of you that wonder how I come up with these things to talk about, I wrote this down because I was like, God, that's I'm at least seeing 4 within a matter of days that are coming. You brought them up. I'll reiterate them for everybody else. Obviously, for us as Auburn fans, we're focusing on Hugh Freeze and his whatever relationship and play calling giving up to will be to Philip Montgomery, our offensive coordinator. Ryan Day is apparently the speculation going to give play calling offensively up to Brian Hartline, who's a prominent name in the assistant coaching space. Jimbo Fisher, apparently being forced, as as Thomas said. But it's Bobby Petrino, though, that he's going to be having. So that one makes a lot of sense to me. And then, everybody get your jokes ready. Malzahn giving up supposedly play calling to Darren Henshaw, I think is how you say his name. Will that stick? We'll see. Everybody's got their opinions about that one. But there's another Auburn tie to bring it back in, and however many times he supposedly gave up play calling then. Is it as simple as that? It's just the game's changed so much. Head coaches have too much to focus on that they can't do this anymore, at least at a high level for these type of programs.
I think it is, and with offense being faster and faster year in and year out, they have to keep track of everything that's going on that field. And if you're an offensive-minded coach, that's where you're at. I mean, you're still paying attention to the defense being a head coach, but if you're an offensive guy, you're an offensive guy. That's just the reality of how you see the ball game, I guess. But everything is so much faster. Everything is scripted so much more with timeouts and TV deals and the commercials that have to happen. You have to be ready on the spot every single time. And the staff that you build of analysts, and we've seen analysts go from just being an analyst for 2 years to being a coordinator or a position coach.
Right.
They spend so much time watching film. They're an analyst. It's all analytics. It's all numbers, crunching things down, watching film. And every coach has a game plan. They want to run their system. So the staff around them helps them accomplish that. And I think it's a whole lot easier for them just to go, what's our best option? This is it, coach. Thank you. Run that, please.
So when you hear giving up play calling, does that in your mind, does that mean head coaches will not call plays, especially